So we are live now, but officially we start at 9. We are 3 minutes away. And as you come in, still waiting for some people to come in, you can start sharing before we start. So we are about 3 minutes away before we start the interview. So this is the time for you to share. Yeah. We're still waiting. Me, it. We are 2 minutes away from the interview. We have 9 people already. Awesome, wonderful. So those of you who have come live, we really appreciate your comment in the comment box. So I've got Sang Ayu, Vera, Namaskar, Sang Ayu. So the 9 of you are here. Please say something in the comment box so that we know that you are here. The numbers are there. All right. Dato Pradit, Namaskar, Dato. Dato is here. And we are 1 minute away as we wait for more of you to say something. We will start shortly. Yeah? Like I said, we are 60 seconds away from starting officially. So we wait. Yeah? Share if you can.
As much as possible.
Yeah, please share. We have 9, like I said, 9 of you here. And like I said, we are slightly less than 60 seconds away to start officially. Let me share into my wall first. Okay, we got Devi, Juniati, Namaskar, Amira Fauzia, Namaskar, Namaskaram. Wonderful to see you people. All right, we are at sharp at 9. Namachivaya Valga, Nathan Tan Valga, Yime Poludum Yen Nenjil, Nigadan Tal Valga. Hari Om, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Ram, Jai Sakti, Namaskaram, Vanakkam. Welcome to the first episode of Facebook Live on the why of Hinduism. And today's topic is who is a Hindu. And today we have somebody very interesting, very experienced, very knowledgeable. Yeah. And before we go further, I'd like to now also introduce, and most of you know, my co-host of the day, Krishna ji. Would you like to say some namaskar?
Namaskar, you too. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. How are you today?
I'm very good.
Yes.
Next to a pretty lady, I'm always good.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I'm really excited today. You know why?
Why?
I've got a Shakti on the other side.
Actually,
today.
I shouldn't ask. I know already. Because
you
you
know,
always buy
yes.
Then
yes.
Shakti means very, very excited.
Yes.
Yeah. So double excitement today.
Funny. Yes, yes. We've got an exciting person on the other end. So we are all excited about it and looking forward to hearing from her. So give me the pleasure of
we got 14 of us today. Now, as at now, I'm not today. I'm sure the numbers will grow.
Yes.
Okay, let me introduce our guest today, Ma Archana, also known as Ma Safira, who is the chair of board of trustees of Anand Ashram Foundation, Indonesia, and chair of Indonesian Association for Ayurveda, Meditation and Yoga, has dedicated her life to journey into self and dissemination of promoting health and inner beauty through Ayurveda and yoga for the last 19 years. She has this special gift of awakening hope, especially at this time, in suffering hearts and minds and communicating directly with one's Atma or soul.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And what I like to do now is to get Marjana to say something more about herself.
Yes.
You know, it's better to hear. She can say whatever, but I think, what do you think? We should
Yes.
ask her to say. Yeah?
Yes, please
All
do.
right. Over to you.
Over to you.
Om
Good to
Shri
start
Guru
with.
Bhyo Namaha Hari Om, Jai Shri Krishna, and Jai Shakti. And of course, Namaskar, Vanakam, Om Swastiastu.
Oh, we
Yes,
forgot
sir.
Om Swastiastu. How can I? I'm sorry.
I'm also very excited to be with both of you because both of you have this powerful energy that can always, I get contracted by it, you know, so that I become also
Positive energy
energetic.
attracts the positive energy.
Yeah, that is true. Good vibration. So if you ask me, what should I tell about myself? Well, the first thing I would tell is I'm a human being. That's for sure. I'm a human being. And
Them are human in name only.
yeah, not human in name only. Yeah. So, as what you have mentioned, I am actually in Indonesia. And for the time being, because of COVID, I'm in Bali, but usually I'm in Jakarta. I've been in the ashram for, I think, 20 years. I was never the kind of person who stays in one place. Yeah. But then I met this beautiful soul, of course, Guruji Anand Krishna. And so that's the reason why I'm still here. You know, I'm still here and on this path of Dharma. As you mentioned, I'm also the chair of Board of Trustees of Anand Ashram and also chair of the Indonesian Association for Ayurveda, Meditation, and Yoga. What else? What else should I say about myself? I think that's it, no? Enough, no?
You have this special gift, you know, of awakening the suffering heart.
Yeah. See, this is all from personal experience because before I met Guruji, I was a sick person, let's just say sick in the soul. Yeah. I was actually what you call by a survivor of, I wouldn't call survivor, thriving as a post-traumatic stress disorder. So psychiatrists would say that I would never be healed or cured, yeah, for the rest of my life. But this is what I will be sharing later through yoga, through Ayurveda, and through the knowledge of the Vedas. And of course, finally finding the true identity of the discovery of the self. It is what has actually healed me. And it has surprised many, the psychiatrists, the psychologists. They say, it's impossible. How is it possible? I said, of course it's possible because we're only focusing on the mind while everything else is, you know, there's more beyond the mind. Yeah. So that is that.
Okay.
Beautifully say. I always joke. This is a joke, so don't take it seriously. If there's any psychologists, you know, or psychiatrists around. Sometimes I say, no, we've got to be the certain challenges or certain problems. Yeah. When we go and ask them to handle our problem, actually our problem don't get solved. Only their problem gets solved. You know?
That's true.
Because there are certain things, there is a limitation of the mind. You know, I'm a motivational trainer. I talk about the mind previously, but mind has a limitation.
True.
And you need to now discover beyond the mind. But there are certain things, mind alone, mind can only do so much. You need to go beyond, and you found your what was the name just now? My favorite person of Bali.
Guruji Anand.
Guruji Anand. What do you call him just now for yourself? Your soul.
Beautiful
Atma. The beautiful Atma.
Beautiful Atma.
We miss Ubud. You know, the word Ubud, it just keeps coming to us. We are looking forward to the ashram. We are looking forward to seeing you all, you know. And
namaste. Many friends from our Ubud is sending their namaste, their love and care. Wow, thank you so much.
Thank you so
So
much.
exciting. We have already got 31 people watching us now. Live, wonderful. And we are just a new platform as well. All right. Now, next question I'd like to ask you, Ma, is how long you have, we have been your 19 years, yeah, you've been a practitioner, and we know that, I think, because there are more than 1 billion Hindus in the world.
Yeah.
What do you want, how would I share with them, how does a true Hindu live?
Yeah.
How, from your experience, what do you like to share?
Actually, I'm a Garwapsi. Of course, I cannot elaborate on that on this public video.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
You understand. Yeah.
But this is what's interesting. Without me realizing it, I've been practicing it since all my life, because in Indonesia, we have this, the tradition that we get from our ancestors. It is very much Sanatani. Yeah. So I'm like, I've been practicing for a long time. So Hindu, as we call Sanatan Dharma, if we say it, right, has been practiced since this very existence, so where there's Prakriti, that's the Hindu has already existed. So this is why in Chandogya Upanishad, there's a story of Satyakam, so he could hear the cows even before we were, of course, when we come Homo sapiens, we can say, okay, Sanatan Dharma started from that, but actually it went further beyond from the beginning of the existence. So the story of Satyakam, he could hear the cows and other animals and fire teaching him lessons about Brahman. And so I think if we say that, when has this all started? It has started from the beginning. Of course, with me formally, I've been saying since the last 20 years, fully practicing as a, as a way in the Sanatani. And so, yeah, in my experience, it's that when we regard life as not only that we can see God everywhere, the Ishwar everywhere, and that is the way how real Hindu should live. So that there is ahimsa, we don't hurt one another. But what's very important is like, we always pray for everyone.
Yes.
We don't. Yeah, we don't pray only for our own people, our own family. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramaya. So this is the beauty of, I think, how we have to live as a real Hindu. That's in my opinion.
Like always, Guruji says, is Vasudeva Kutumbakam.
Yes, Vasudeva Kutumbakam.
That's the beauty about us Hindus, because we believe, everybody is the same, and we don't divide. We take everybody as like our own. There is no division. We take them like our own family. That's the beauty about us Hindus. What you rightfully say, we pray for others, and we look everybody as equal. It's the same. What's in me is what is in you. That's why we do this namaskar and namaste.
That is true. That is true. And we never also regard ourselves as something like, I'm more superior than you, so I tolerate you. So Guruji always reminds me, we have to appreciate. We have to appreciate those who are different from us, but because actually we without realizing, there is the Ishwar within them also. And so why should we feel that we are, better than them?
Yes.
That's the beauty of it.
We see God in everything.
Everything and everywhere.
Everything
in the sky. We even we see the ocean.
True.
Thinking, when we were taught when we were children, if there's a thunder, you say Arjuna, Arjuna.
Yeah.
So we were taught that way. We do not know why. Thunder, please say Arjuna, Arjuna. So we will all say, oh, Arjuna, Arjuna. So we are brought up that way. So actually we live it.
And we personify it. The relationship is very close. We don't put the Ishwar somewhere like, oh, you are like far away and you're mighty and all that. But it's this beautiful, close relationship, very intimate. That is how it should be.
Very much. You put it so beautifully.
Sang Ayu say Vasudeva Kutumbakam. So beautiful. Yes.
So beautiful.
Yeah. And coming from Indonesia, extra beautiful.
Exactly. We are impressed. Archana, I just was thinking, it's so good to hear, the story of Upanishads and all that from a person like you in Bali, or in Indonesia, I should say. You see, okay, let's hear your views. Hindu, the Sanatana Dharma is not a religion of a book.
Yeah.
We are a religion of a library.
Yeah.
We've got many school of thought, right?
Yes.
So how do we will you be able to explain the different school of thought?
Yeah, it's actually schools of philosophy, we can say that. And then this Hindu philosophy is actually generally classified into 6, what we call Shat Darshan. So darshan is more of philosophy. There's the Astika, those are the 6, Shat Darshan, and of course there is also the 3 Nastika, right? The basic difference between the 2 branches of Hindu philosophy of schools is actually said to be based on recognition of the Vedas, right? So the Shat Darshan recognize the authority of the Vedas, while the Nastika schools don't believe in authority of the Vedas. And if we go into like what are the Shat Darshans, there's the Nyay. This is more of the rationality of the logic and analytical philosophy. Yeah. And then there's the Vaisheshik. I don't know how to pronounce it. Vaisheshik. Yeah. So it is actually more about explaining about the atoms, atoms and the void, right? We can say it was the physics of ancient times. Yeah. And then there is the Mimamsa. This is very critical interpretation of the Vedas. So it has to do more with the yajnas, right? And rituals. So there does not have to have a god, but you have to do these rituals correctly. If you don't pronounce the mantra correctly, then it's going to be problematic maybe for your neighbors or something like that. So that is Mimamsa.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other 3, of course, it is more, I think most of us are like adapting to it. It's like Samkhya, the philosophy of Samkhya. So this is more of consciousness and matter, this Purusha and Prakriti. And then there is the Purusha as the observer, Prakriti is the material, right? And of course, so it's spirit and matter, let's just say that in a more simplistic term. And of course, there's also Yoga of Patanjali. It's more of the contemplation and meditation, using the body also, of course, to be able to reach yoga, huge, of course, become in union. And of course, the Vedanta. And the Vedanta is the essence of the Vedas. And we know that in the Vedantas, there's the subcategory of it, the Dvaita and Vishishtvaita, and of course, the Advaita Vedanta. But what is interesting in all these different philosophies is there's never a watertight compartment. Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. If we see the works of Adi Shankaracharya, sometimes he glorifies Shiva, but then he glorifies Krishna also, right? And he glorifies Aman. Huh?
Yes.
So that's the beauty of it. Yeah. And then we can be anywhere, everywhere. So we can claim I'm an Advait, right? But then when we say, okay, but sometimes, I see God in this kind of like the beloved and the beloved, right? So that's a different thing. That's Dvait. So, we're everywhere. We can be anywhere. So this is what's beautiful about it. And this is what's interesting of the Nastika. Of course, there's the Charvaka and there's the Buddhist, right? And then there's Ajivika. Only when I was in India, right? When my friend was asked, what are you? So I was like, oh, I'm Hindu. And then the other one was asked, what are you? Buddhist. Oh, it's okay, you're Hindu, But in here, in Indonesia, you would never say that to a Buddhist, right? Oh, Buddhist, separate. But in India, when I met this group of people, they were saying, oh, it's okay, you're a Hindu. I'm a Buddhist, oh, you're a Hindu.
which leads to the next question when I ask you. Who is a Hindu?
Yes.
That is interesting. That is interesting because that is a very multifaceted, if we call, are you saying who is a Hindu? Is it?
Because we have this kind of situation. Who is a Hindu? How do we classify Hindu from your own experience? Because for us Hindus, there are many ways, like you say, many facets and many ways of looking things. We are not cast in stone. This is it. You cannot go out of it. If you go out of it, this is the book you follow. Otherwise, you will get into trouble and stuff like that. We are very flexible, and sometimes that can be also be a double-edged sword sometimes.
Dividing factor. So,
that is true.
From your experience, for me, I think nobody can say, hey, Harchana, you say something, Ma, you say something wrong. No, I think we have our ways of expressing. because we believe in our consciousness. As our consciousness level grows higher and higher, we start speaking, looking, sharing, telling in different things.
Yes.
In fact, the master that I go to for my lessons, what he said 7 years ago, he is now saying it slightly differently because his Atma has evolved. I cannot say, how come 7 years ago you said something else? I mean, there's a slight tweak to it, but I can understand. I appreciate Hindu. His Atma has evolved. And he has now started looking at things in a different perspective.
And you also from kindergarten have now come to
secondary
college level. So he is able to understand. Okay.
So in your perspective, there is no wrong to anything. What is a Hindu? Like your experience, you say, who is a Hindu?
So for all practical reasons and our convenience and legalities, of course, we should have no problem with the word Hindu as religion. But for our own understanding, this is actually very important for all Hindus to realize and understand that our concept is dharma based on natural laws. Religion is more of man-made, although every religion will claim it is divine origins, right? So who is a Hindu? It's very multifaceted, because if we talk about geographically, then Hindus are those who come from Persia until the outer limits of Australia. So even if you are in Malaysia, you have Borneo, and of course Borneo is like it's Kalimantan, Indonesia, and then it's actually the same also in Assam, and all that. But if we talk who is a Hindu in the form of like believing something, actually, I have to be honest, even many vegans now in the West, many of them are like Hindus because, right? Many of them are Hindus, even though they're Western, they don't believe in killing, right? Of course, ahimsa, and then they believe that you have to respect nature. And then their greetings is also namaste, right? I respect the divine within you. And I think people with who believes in Om, right? And Om also is because is the Shabda of Brahman. So it's all Vedas come from there. Of course, in many regions it's different, because where I come from, West Java, we don't say Om, but Ahum, right? And in Bali it's Ong, right? But then it's the same concept of it. And of course, those who believe in karma, and those people in the West also, they believe in karma. They believe in reincarnation. And then
they say, sorry, they talk about the law of cause and effect. Which is karma,
Yeah, it is karma.
But put in differently, the law of cause and effect.
True.
You always say what you sow is what you reap. But that's exactly karma.
It is exactly. It is because it is the law of cause and effect. And of course, about Jivatma and Paramatma, so basically one. And what we were talking about, moksha. To believe in moksha, of course, both of you are, postponing your mokshas, right? Because
yes, we talked about it.
Because we have been told to miss our moksha this time. We will not mention the name. He's watching. He knows who he is. I say he. So you already know. We have to postpone our moksha, but we have the liberty. And that's what Hinduism is all about. You can decide to come and serve.
Yeah, and you don't believe in only like there is one book and one prophet, something. So it's like what I would like to quote Swami Chinmayananda, actually, because he said it very beautifully. Like, if you give a book to a Muslim, you give a Quran. You give a book to a Christian, you give a Bible. But if you give a book to a Hindu, come to my library. So it's like, and we as Hindus, you have a choice. All those many books, it's like, you are in a banquet party, right? You have many choices of food, because U2G is on the program of a diet, right? So I'm talking about food to him now. Maybe.
The last time you saw him in Bali, he's half his size now.
No. This is another question. Food for thought. Why we have so many books?
Why we have so many books?
Yes.
Because because it is depending on each person's preference. Every person has different temperament, And then it's like when I was saying about the banquet, we have choices of many food. Of course, we're not going to take all of them. We can only take the things that we like and what we can digest. See, this is very important. I mean, we can read something like the Srimad Bhagavatam, or we can read the Bhaja Govindam and all that. So can we digest it or not? If we can digest it, why not?
Because we also, correct me if I'm wrong, depending on your level of consciousness.
Yes, level of
at certain
consciousness.
level, you only can maybe finish primary school. You
True.
are not yet ready for secondary. And some of us are ready for secondary. If you give them primary stuff, it's like, oh, you give me this. It's too simple. This already I know. I want to know something else. Even university, you cannot give the guy a kindergarten book and say, because my conscious now at that level, I'm seeking for more.
Yes.
And I think just now, along this line, Ma, you spoke about, in Malaysia especially, the school that I go, we call it Sarya Kire Yogam Jnanam. You know, the 4 levels.
In
Sanskrit, there's I can't remember the 4 levels. You know, yogam and in Sanskrit there's another.
I'm just
4
beginner in
steps.
Sanskrit. I've just learned to sign my name in Sanskrit.
So what we said just now was, it depends on your level of consciousness, like
basically.
And you refer to the scripture or the text which is aligned with your level of consciousness.
True. Like when we were in children, we were told God is up there, He's watching. So when we grow up, God is everywhere. We are in that system already now. Our mind has already, like he said, we have become matured. We have come to secondary level, and then we are going to college, and then we are at university level. So our level of thinking has also become better.
And then now I'm doing PhD.
Analyzing and
wow, that's true.
So many texts for my reference for my thesis,
And while talking about moksha, we can see people are messaging here. Moksha can wait.
Yeah, moksha.
Moksha can wait. We've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, true.
Marchana, now coming to a little bit more practical questions. Do you look at the Hinduism as being diminishing in number? Are we impressed? Are the youth inspired? Are the youth happy to be part of the Sanatan Dharma? Are we doing the right thing to bring the youth back here? When I say youth, it's also the women, the teens, because women are the changing, the agents of change globally. Globally. So, as women, what do you think we can do, or what have you been doing to have the youth into Sanatan Dharma?
So, if we talk about the role of women too, it's very important, because children, they spend maybe more time with their mothers, right? And then it is very important also, the mother should be knowledgeable about the Sanatani teachings, because if not, I love this story. Guruji always tells me this story about a story of an ashram. And, they have an elderly guru. So they always do pujas in the morning. One day there was a cat, right? And then the cat was so cute. So the ashramite, the guru and the disciples thought, okay, we'll just adopt the cat. This is very cute. But then, every time they do pujas in the morning, the cat is always jumping on the altar. And so what are we going to do? Every time they tell the cat to, sit down, of course, it doesn't want to. So what they started to do, they start to tie the cat near the altar, right? So it went on and on until the cat died. And then when the cat died, they got another cat. When another cat, it started the same thing, always jumping on the altar. And so the elderly guru said, tie it up again. And it so happens until the elderly guru died, right? So they had another successor. And when there's this other successor, they had another cat also. So the ashram people said, we have to have a cat because cats are so cute. And then when the successor saw the cat was always jumping, they tied it up. So it went on for 50 years. Imagine that. After 50 years, there was another new guru, right? And one day before they started the puja, the disciple said, Guru, we don't have the cat just died. And the guru was like distraught, like, oh no. And you know what happened? Because, he said, okay, I have to go to town. And so he went straight to the town to buy a cat to do. And then when he came back to the ashram, you know what he did? He tied the cat near the altar. So because it went on and on, they didn't know how the beginning of the story. So they didn't know how to commence a morning puja without tying the cat. So you see, that is why it's very important to teach and give understandings of rituals that we do. And many youth, when I meet, because we have a school here in Bali, right? One Earth School. And then when we ask them about what is it to become a Hindu, and I don't know, we have a saying here in Balinese, nak mula keto. Nak mula keto is like, oh, we just did it, you know, our ancestors did it, so we just did it. And they don't have any excitement about it anymore because they don't understand. So giving understanding in the modern context, applying to their everyday life would be more exciting for them. It's very easy to digest. Right? Again, it will be easy to digest for them. And then we can give the understandings of the Vedic teachings. Even the Bhagavad Gita also should be written, catered to the youth. Then only they're interested. And even though like the presenters are youngsters also, maybe wearing some clothes that are a bit, with a hat like that, and they have this dance, whatever, I don't know what they call it. So when I started,
people start like
yeah,
this.
yeah, like that, just like that. When they started seeing that, then they started to listen. But we give philosophy.
Music inspires them.
Music inspires them, and then also like they have now lots of this dance music, right? But then
actually, know how you do it, because you sing well, you dance well, and we know about the youth. You sing well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how Kirtan. That's how we invited the youth.
Sorry, Ma. There's a comment from the Hindu study group. Namaste all. Another attribute of a Hindu is that he or she is someone who is seeking, knowledge and truth. He keeps on seeking until he finds the truth for himself.
True.
As a Hindu, it is not what you say. That is the beauty about our Sanatana Dharma. It is your single path.
Yeah. You become the seeker.
You seek. You discover the truth. You experience it yourself.
Yeah, it is.
The text, the guru, and all becomes our guide and stuff like that. But end of the day, it is you enjoy the journey.
True. It's all about self-discovery.
Yeah, self-discovery. So one more thing I would like to ask, Ma, in Bali, in Indonesia, what are some of those things that you're doing for the youth? Is there anything what are you particularly for the youth?
Particularly through music. That is what we do, yes. And also, of course,
I love the way you guys performed when you came to Malaysia.
Awesome.
Full of energy. Yeah, full of energy.
Looking forward to.
Thank you.
I remember Gopalan, 74 years old, getting on stage and dancing.
Yes,
that's true.
A 74-year-old man can go on stage and dance with you folks. That means
we can get the youth also, isn't it?
That is true.
What else through dance and music? So what else can inspire them?
We also give them like values. It is very important, human values that is based on, of course, the Sanatani values. They can make plays and all that. But what's interesting, they don't understand also most about what are the deities. Right? It's very important when we started to teach them Kirtan. They were not interested at the very beginning. They said, what is this? So when we started to tell them about the meanings of each deity and then the qualities of each deity, and there's this one little boy, when in school, they always have, this hero of the day. What is your favorite hero? Every people, the other children comes dressing up as Captain America and the Hulk. You know what he was dressed in? Hanuman.
Wow. My favorite. Jai Hanuman.
Jai Hanuman. So that's what we do to our youth through the teachings of course, with meditation and yoga. We start with that also. And slowly we give them also the understandings of Bhagavad Gita, but according to their consciousness.
Yes, their consciousness.
Yeah, how to apply it in everyday life, like problems in school, problems with friends. That's what we do.
How do they want to receive that medicine, either in a capsule or in a liquid form, whether they want to have the Bhagavad Gita in a form of a text or in a form of a drama or in a form of a song, that whatever that inspires them, in the form that they would, they will receive. They're able to receive to that level. Yeah.
And we ask them also, what are you concerned about? What is your cause? So they're very concerned about the climate change. So they're not going to talk about climate change like what the others are saying. So we imbibe with the Vedic teachings, and then also the yoga philosophy of ahimsa and all that.
I want to ask you this question for you.
So many questions.
I've got so many questions because Shakti will be very nice to Shakti. This one, no. Because I want to pick her brains, not easy.
Hey, she's not easy, man. She's an encyclopedia sitting there.
That's why I must ask so many. I must ask questions. Next question reserved for you. But this one I ask first. Yeah. Okay. The youth always say this, that I am still young. I got still time. Let me enjoy life. Let my mother, who is my grandfather, who is 60, 70 years old, let them study the scripture first. When their age, then only I will start reading the scriptures. Now I enjoy my life. Now, what message you like to share with the youth in case they turn on this later and watch?
You see, Sanatan Dharma does not separate the secular from the sacred. This is the thing that they need to understand. This world and that world, because many of the understandings like you work for the world and you go, you can reach your, enrich your Atma and all that. That doesn't work like that. It has to be together. Even in Bhagavad Gita says Vijnana and Vijnana, the science of Prakriti, material existence, is equally important as Jnana, or science of the Atma, a science of the self. So without mastering both, no Ananda will be there. And this is what we've been telling our youth also. Guruji wrote a beautiful book, but it's in Bahasa Indonesia. It's called Total Success. I mean, if you listen, you see the cover, oh, this is like a motivation thing. But actually, the total success does not mean only for the material aspect of it. How can you succeed in both ways, materially, spiritually? So we have to give an understanding that it goes hand in hand. We have to know our adhyatma and know the nature of material existence as adi bhautik, the material. And when the children, we let the children to discuss this, there is a book discussion and it's amazing. They can get it straight away like that. So when they say, I want to become a musician, so we thought like, okay, they're going to be a musician. They're just going to be like K-pop star or something like that, So, but they say, no, I want to be a musician to open people's heart, and what good can I bring? What is the purpose? So Guruji is always reminding also, whatever you want to become a doctor, you want to become an engineer, you want to become now, a lot of them is with technologies, right?
Yeah.
Even YouTubers. In our generation, we never thought that being a YouTuber, you can be a millionaire, billionaire, right? So we always remind them, what is your purpose? So this purpose is very spiritual because it leads them also to the self-discovery. And that is what's important for the youth to understand. You can't separate them both.
Okay. Before you ask, sorry, I'm a busy boy. I've got so many questions to ask. You want to ask this? I said, hold on first. Okay, I know. Shakti, you can speak on private. I want to ask this question. This question is, can I also say the youth, when they grow, we were youth before, we were young before.
Before, I'm still youth now.
Okay. Not so young. So this spiritual knowledge or the text, the scriptures that we learn, study, acquire, prepares us to manage ourselves in the material, in this physical world, when they're faced with challenges because of this knowledge that you have. Is this? Can I say this? How do you justify? How can you add on to? Am I right in saying this?
Yes, of course. I agree with what you said. It enriches our Atman, right? Of what you were saying. It's the youth like now we are faced with COVID, with the pandemic. Right?
Yeah.
There is a saying in Bahasa Indonesia is generasi baringan, baringan, you know, rebahan. You know what rebahan means? Laying down.
Or laying down. Okay.
Yeah.
Laying down.
So the generation of laying down.
Laying down.
Or
No, laying down, because we can't go anywhere, we can't do anything.
Okay.
So when the children starts to understand about the importance of Vasudeva Kutumbakam and the purpose of life itself, right, to grow, and they start to have ideas, and they are now creating a competition for youth to make videos to let them, you know, to help them get out of the bed. Yeah. So so this is an application of everyday life for the youth that they can do. Right? So this is what's amazing. We don't tell them what to do, and they come up from themselves. And then when the mothers, because we have a gurukul, right? The mothers, they're like very, they're worrying like, oh, what will happen, you know, with this pandemic? And you know what they tell them, Mom, you don't have to worry. You can meditate, you know, and then you can, you know, go within and search the peace within, because we cannot control the outside, but we can control what's within. Isn't that wonderful coming from the youth?
Awesome. Well explained.
Excellent.
And now I give her the chance to ask. So now I will seal my mouth and pass the thing to Shakti.
He's got lots of questions for you, you know, Marchana. He's got lots and lots of questions for you, but we are running out of time. Actually, it's so good to hear you. Actually, we don't want to interrupt you. We just want to hear you.
Yeah.
You've got so much knowledge. We are so
because from the good vibration that I'm getting from both of you, see?
blessed.
Thank you.
Okay. Now I'm going to talk something about what you mentioned earlier, of course. We understand that you are also an Ayurveda Ayurveda practitioner, and Ayurveda actually is I can tell you that I'm working because of Ayurveda.
Okay.
Yes, so I'm there. So it's of course everybody for the different manifestations we have got Dhanvantari for the god of Ayurveda, right? So you being an Ayurveda practitioner, okay, share from the greatness of Ayurveda. So, I mean, you have gone through, you've got the experience.
What I love most about Ayurveda, one, is that you never take things personally. That's one of them. Because if someone is behaving badly, right, we just say, your dosha is imbalanced. Talk to the hand.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Yeah, so we don't take things personally. We know that, oh, something's imbalanced in the dosha. So that's one thing that I love about having experience in Ayurveda. And what is also mind-blowing for me is that the understanding that actually the ultimate goal of Ayurveda is to annihilate the ego, because disease are caused by the ego. You know, it's like when we have GERD, yeah, or we have gastritis, and we love all this spicy food. You know, in India, the doctors will say, hey, no hurry, no curry, no worry, right? Like that, right? But
I like that. I like that.
We like that rhyme.
Yeah, it's rhyming. But then our ego, because we are so dictated by our senses, when we still cannot control the senses, we know that we have GERD, but we love to eat that spicy sambar and all that, yeah? When we know it's actually not healthy for us, we go ahead with it because we cannot eliminate the ego, then we get sick. So disease happens because we are still dictated by our senses. And this senses is the ones that is bringing the message to the mind and creates the ego. So that is a very spiritual way of healing, actually.
Sorry, Ma, I need to stop you. Sorry, I have to cut you here now.
I penalize him now.
No, I want to pick up that thing. Disease caused by ego. But then the ego in the Hindu context is not the Western ego.
Yeah.
Is it right?
Because we have no direct translation
No.
of ego in Hindu.
Yeah.
We cannot direct translate it in English
In
because, but that's the closest that we come talking about
Yeah.
ego. But this ego in Hinduism is big, more than the English ego, if I can
Like the
say
word
correct.
Kali, yeah? There is no translation.
True. This is the problem. So when I wrote my book, my spiritual journey with and then of course when I met Guruji, it was a discussion in the universities, one of the famous universities in Indonesia, right? And I was talking about eliminating the ego, and that is how I was saved. And of course, we were discussing it in the Department of Psychology. And then they harassed me like anything, saying, ego is needed to be able to grow ourselves because we identify ourselves with the it, with the ego itself. But then in our tradition, in the Vedic teachings, it's like, if you want to live happily, you have to eliminate the ego. But I am so happy that now, even in the Western society, they start to understand this. You want to be happy, eliminate the ego. You want to be healthy, eliminate the ego. See, but then in the old schools of psychology, don't. Ego is the one that makes you have confidence. You need that. You cannot eliminate.
Yeah, it takes you to somewhere another level.
Yeah.
The ego. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Anything else you want to add on in your experience? Have you?
Of course, that what I love about in Ayurveda is like you don't generalize things. You see things as an individual. You don't give one medicine to just everybody for fixing that problem because
Fixture for everyone.
Yeah. So it's according to the doshas, and then that is. I think it's wonderful. You cannot generalize everything.
Does gunas also affect your
the ego?
The ego?
Oh, very much. That's why in Bhagavad Gita, it's Krishna says you have to go beyond the three gunas, right?
Okay.
So even the gunas affects the doshas. So we have the what is sattvic vata, rajasic vata, and also tamasic vata. So of course, our ideal is to reach the sattvic, right? If we're still dynamic, we can go a bit to rajas, But then the three gunas is very much affecting it. But what's good news is the three gunas can always be put under control. Yeah, you balance the doshas, and then the gunas becomes balanced. But frankly speaking, if we're talking about spirituality, you have to go beyond all those things.
It's all in one.
But that's the beginning. Yeah. That's the beginning.
That's the beginning.
Yes, yeah. Because we want to share with the youth, in case they are watching, that this is some of those things they're missing. Because these days, the younger folks, every time they have a problem, their only solution is popping pills.
That's
true. You and I know popping pills doesn't solve anything. True. In fact, in certain situations, it does more harm than good.
True. And it's very surprising also. We have another saying for our school. We call it the workshop. Some people call it the workshop. You know why? Because students who are not accepted in other schools because they're problematic, either they have problems with attention deficit disorder and all those things. For in Ayurveda, it's like there's no such word. It's just vata imbalance, So when they came to our school, and we're the only ones who were accepting them, and the parents were surprised. Even one of the parents says the teachers from a very famous school, and then they put their children to our school. And when they're in our school, they're so fixed, and then they go beyond our expectations, even the parents' expectations. See, because we apply those methods, we try to understand the children individually in those sense, and we don't give pills or pop pills. Yeah, we just tell them there is a hyperactive child. We tell the mother, don't give too much pasta and these candies and all that. Just see your child will be calm, and that's what happens. So this is the good knowledge about Ayurveda, is that we understand people's, the children's temperaments, of course, the people's temperaments also. Yeah. So that's my experience.
Before you ask the question, those who are watching, I would like you to like our page because we are building a community, yeah, around the world. We are bringing Hindus together to share ideas, not only on spiritualism, also in economy, you know, in our social work, and many things we are sharing. So please like the page so that we can keep connected. And we are going to do this every week, every Saturday at this time.
This Saturday night.
Saturday night.
Saturday night.
We boogie, but we boogie on Facebook. Yeah.
Right.
By getting ourselves drunk with plenty of knowledge. Yeah.
Because we should reach intoxicated, you know.
Yes, yeah. Correct word. Intoxicated.
Intoxicated with
yes.
knowledge.
Knowledge,
yeah. People, Mark can help us. Yeah. So please like it, like the page so that we can always be in touch. Sorry.
So you want me to ask questions now?
Yeah. Your turn. Quiet.
We have a message here for one of those messages while Marchana was speaking. Go transpersonal. Yeah. Marchana, you've got the greetings all from North Jakarta, all over. Everybody is watching you, Marchana. A lot of views and likes for you.
It's actually transpersonal is based on Vedic teachings of our Sanatani teachings.
You seem to be inspiring everybody. So globally, everybody is watching you and liking you for the knowledge, and we are happy to have you actually. Right. Now that we are sometime in the week of the International Women's Day.
8th of March.
While talking about the International Women's Day, when the French, when they were asking for voting rights in the 2nd century, we already had Maitreyi and all that in our Vedas.
Yeah.
You know, we had great poets. We had Jansarani. We were already queens. And they were asking for voting rights. So we are far ahead. And in Sanatana Dharma, the Hindu women were far ahead. They were successful. We had rishis. We had, you know, the Vedic scholars who were having Vedic schools.
Yeah.
There were a lot of ladies out there. So on the International Women's Day, as a powerful, knowledgeable woman, Sanadani, Shakti, what's your message for the women?
We have to remember that
this message
Shiva without
Dharma rising.
Yeah, keep Dharma rising.
Keep the Dharma rising.
Shiva without Shakti is Shava.
Good. Okay, go ahead. Shoot.
Okay, I will do this. Should be.
It's, you know, if we even see in the DNA, it's different, right? What do you call that? The number. You know, the men and women are different, 22 or something like that. So men, the X chromosome, Y chromosome and all that. So men is always missing one, right? Why? That is why when, you know, this is just a saying, when women is being left, you know, being widowed or something like that, they don't immediately have to find a man. Yeah, but men have difficulty, you know, they always have to search something to balance them. And there is also a saying, this is just a joke, it's a saying that when men have lots of money, they need women, but when women have lots of money, they don't need men.
I like it.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that's not part of our...
This is just a joke.
No, very good, very well said, very beautifully said. Yeah. I'm a big advocate for women. Yeah, I always say in the Tamil joke, I got Kanni Rasi. Kanni Rasi means
the women
luck. Yeah, because my grandmother was a great woman. My mother was another great lady. My wife is incredible.
So many women, successful women and all that. Like Hindu women, you know, how do they brand themselves as powerful? You know, what kind of things can we do?
We have to remember, a great civilization is when the women are brave and educated. But once the women are, they always put themselves in the second class and all that, that's when the end of civilization, because they become like the pillars, the strength. And as when we're saying, women can be doing multitasking. They can be a mother, they can be a working while feeding the baby, they answer the phone, and in the same time they can cook and all that. And because like I was saying, they are the ones maybe who are more spending time with the children. They're the ones who decide if the children or the family will have a good healthy diet, or the children will have a good education or not. Yeah, through the moral values, the human values. It is actually the mother's roles, because of course, I'm not trying to sound so stereotyped, but nowadays, of course, you know, when the fathers goes to work, when they come home, they expect, oh, the mother is always taking care of the child. So
And we have working ladies.
yeah, working ladies. And actually the working ladies are the one who can influence the husbands, not the opposite, because we're Shaktis. If the mothers have higher consciousness, they can always pull the husband. But if the husband has higher consciousness, it does not guarantee they pull the woman.
I'm a classic example of being pulled the other side. I didn't manage to pull her this side. I was pulled the other side. Yeah. Wait, one minute. I want to take Shiva Nilkan from South Africa. South Africa is listening to us. He says, lovely discussion. Yeah, very interesting. Do you have YouTube live as well? Because of your request, we will work on YouTube the next time around. Yeah, that's something that we will go on.
We will.
So it's wonderful to hear our friends, our Sanadana global Sanadana Dharma audience are listening to us. Yeah,
excellent.
Wonderful.
Yes, very good. So for Hindu women as such, you know, those days they used to say, you know, the family that eats together, you know, stays together.
Yeah.
But I think in a Hindu family, we should say the family that prays together or chants a mantra together stays together. You know, we should create that kind of thing. What do you think? What's your view on that?
It is this.
You know, they used to speak about this in another religion.
Yeah.
When you eat together, you stay. The family that eats together stays together.
True.
So we changed it the other way around and say the family that chants together or prays together.
It's very true, because you know why in Ayurveda is very bad while eating you started talking. It's bad for digestion.
Yeah.
Good thing. That. We read it all the time.
Yeah, so it's the best thing if we spend the families who stays together, who does kirtan together, who does satsang together, and that's very important. That's how we should start. I think
Dharma rising.
Yeah, Dharma rising. I think in the Indian, I know the Sindhi tradition, that in households they always have satsangs.
Oh,
they hold satsangs.
Okay.
Yeah, household
within the family members. Yeah,
within the family members. Like I know the story of Guruji's mother. And that she would always like chant mantras, not only mantras but stories also, that is based on Gita and all that, and that is held in the family, and that's how we should start. We should start from the family.
Okay.
Ma, I would like to tell you that we have friends from South Africa. We have from Mauritius.
Wow.
All over. Yes.
Thank you so much for coming and supporting. And folks, you must remember, this is only our first episode.
The beginning.
It's only the beginning. And of course, we are blessed to have Ma
Archana
here
as our first guest.
As our first. We give priority to
Shakti.
Jai Shakti, Jai Durga, Jai Bhavani.
Yeah. Okay, Ma.
Jai Bhavani. Jai Bhavani, Ma.
So much of
we have 5 more minutes. Yeah,
we just have 5 more minutes. Yeah. Any other questions on the screen that you would like to share with?
I think some good feedback is we should go live so that on YouTube, so that we
excellent discussion.
Yeah, that we work on this next week. See what we can do on YouTube. If I'm not mistaken, they need about 1,000 likes before we can go into YouTube. I think we Hindus can come together and make that happen overnight. That's not a challenge.
Okay. So if there's no other questions, then if there's anything you would like to share.
Anything you would like to share to her,
now it's for you. From you to all the viewers.
All the viewers.
All the viewers who are watching your show.
Yeah, we are close to 50. We had 52, if I'm not mistaken, at our peak, huh? 51. 51. My assistant says we're 51
52.
at the peak. Yeah?
52.
52, huh? Okay.
Yes.
Whatever the number is, I think for the first episode, this is incredible. Yeah, and getting a global audience for this.
Yes.
I'm sure we will getting you more in the future. But now, as we are coming to the end, what is the last message before we say bye-bye to you? Today's last message.
Today's message.
Especially since you say, you both of you talking about Women's International Day, to decide like whether you want to say
Yeah.
or you want to
Global.
or you want
Global.
to include as a bonus.
Please laugh. Poor thing.
Have we done 53? We are now
Alright.
53. Awesome.
53,
Yeah.
awesome.
Incredible.
Okay.
So-
Over to you to conclude.
Good. Women should always remember their role, their Shaktis, and they're not weak because since, of course, the urban time started, and we always regard like women is always regarded as someone who is weak. No, we're not, we're Shaktis. And of course, to fellow Hindus, fellow Sanatanis out there, what we have to remember is always living the Vedic or the Dharmic culture. And, you know, if we don't do that, we will never experience full happiness in life, because material progress along like being pursued by the, you know, this is the present Indian youth also, as will finally result in stress and lunacy. And that's what U2G was mentioning, you know, popping up pills. This is because of that, always material side, and forgetting about the science of the soul, the Atma, self-discovery. The West has experienced this and now turning to the East. So why are we turning to the West? It's silly. It's silly for the East to follow in the footsteps of the West and land up in lunatic asylums. So if we want to live happily, happiness in life, then these two things, the Vigyan and the Gyan, has to come hand in hand together. That is my message.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. We end of the show now. So we'll wrap up. And thank you so much, Marchana. It was really an honor. I mean, it's our pleasure to have you on screen. So much. You're so knowledgeable. You are like an encyclopedia. And we like to have you again. Because it looks like there are a lot of likes here and they want you back on screen. So we'll call you again. And it takes two, of course. It's not just about being woman and women and women. They okay, my dear brother.
Today we are playing.
It's always, you know, it's only in the
other,
Hindu religion. It's only the Hindu books that our scriptures talk about Shiva Shakti. They put they put the lady in front first. You know, Radha Krishna.
Yeah.
Sita Rama. Okay, Lakshmi Vishnu. It's always the woman.
True.
There.
Always the
so
woman.
We are always that. It's only our religion that gives so much of power to women. So we have got lots of work. We've got to keep rocking and keep that
rock
rising.
We will. Yeah.
Rock we will. Okay. And thank you so much. And namaskar, Hari Om.
Namaskar, Hari Om. Thank you so much.
With that note, I also like to tell thank you, Namaskar, Hari Om. Remember, the wine of Hinduism. And that only can be found on Saturday night. Of course, many places, more so with a global audience. On Saturday, Malaysian time at 9 o'clock, 9 p.m.
Yes.
Please stay with us. Come and join us every Saturday. Till we meet you again next week. Namaskar one more time.
Namaskar, Hari Om.